Hello again, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Today it's an early autumn garden tour. We're actually starting off today in the greenhouse. In this greenhouse we've got lots of plants that are growing, ready to be planted out very shortly in the autumn. In the autumn we cut back our perennials and we dig up our summer annual bedding and we put in a lot of these sort of plants. So here you can see that we've got polyanthus and pansies, violas, polyanthus, bellis, wallflowers, all sorts of plants like this that we're going to be putting into our garden quite shortly. As well as the bedding, we've also got over here some perennials that we've been growing as plugs, been growing on, ready to be planting out either in this autumn or in the spring as well. So we've got lots of lovely plants here ready to be planted out. But now we're going outside. Because we have a large garden, we grow a lot of perennial plants. And many need renewing each year. They don't last forever, unfortunately. And we develop new beds as well where we need new plants. So we grow a lot of perennials each year. We propagate perennials by splitting and taking cuttings, but we also buy quite a few small perennials as plugs to grow on ourselves. And here's an example of what we do. Here we've recently had a delivery, and there are lots of small perennial plants here, a real selection of plants, and we're potting these up to grow on. Here we've got some quite large plants, and these we're able to put into quite big pots. Okay, so these large ones here we're putting into quite substantial pots ready to grow on, and probably to be planted out next year, I would have thought. Here though we've got some smaller perennial plants. These are quite tiny plugs, and so these we're putting into smaller pots. Okay, so these small Geronicums are in the smaller pots, the larger Echinacea plugs, they're in bigger pots, and they're going to be grown on over winter and probably planted out next spring. The next thing that we're going to show you is our late cropping potatoes. All the way down this wall we've got over 20 buckets of late cropping potatoes that we've planted at different stages. Some of them have been in quite a long time now. We're actually going to do a potato reveal now, just to show some of these potatoes that have been in a reasonable length of time.
Alright, good luck.
Yep, good luck. So we're going to see what we've got here. We've got some visitors coming for dinner later on, and they would like some new potatoes. So we're going to see whether we can provide them with some new potatoes from this bucket. Let's have a look and see what we've got.
Wow.
They are, aren't they?
Lovely. Ooh, look.
Well, they are lovely, but they're a little bit bigger than I thought they were going to be.
Wow. There.
Yep, I know. There. Okay, so that's one bucket full then of some of our late cropping potatoes, which you're going to be using later on with our cooking. So over here then we've got some of our main crop potatoes. The tops are pretty much died off now, and we're hoping that we've got quite a nice crop of Picasso potatoes here. So we're going to do a potato reveal with this bucket here. Main crop Picasso, let's see what we've got.
Oh gosh, you got a lot. Oh, that's quite. Oh my goodness. That's the real. A lot. Picasso.
Picasso is the variety, yep.
Yeah, another one there. Inside. Oh my gosh, how many kilos? I think. Wow. That's perfect.
Well, for one bucket, I'm really pleased with that.
Yeah, look at that. Well done, you.
One bucket of lovely Picasso potatoes.
Wow.
We've come over to the raised beds now, and we're showing one of our beds of brassicas. These have been put in at different times, some of them at the far end, like the Brussels sprouts, and much more advanced than ones at this end. So this is one of our beds of brassicas. It's been protected with the cage. We've taken the netting off for the moment. Having said that, we just saw a rather unexpected cabbage white butterfly, so it may have to go back on.
Oh no.
So next door then, in the next raised bed, we've got more of our winter brassicas. These are still protected, as you can see. Nadj is showing you they're a real mixture of different types of brassicas. There's some curly kale and there's broccoli, cabbage, all sorts of things. Down at the far end you can actually see another a hoop tunnel down there where there's more down there as well. So we've got an awful lot. We want to try to be self-sufficient in brassicas this winter, all being well.
Fresh?
Yeah, they look quite good generally, don't they?
Very green.
On this bed here then we've got quite a selection of crops. Many of them are sort of winter crops. So we've got the parsnips and leeks and things such as that. Down at the far end we've also got quite a range of salad crops as well. Salad onions, beetroot and lettuce, etc. So we've brought you now to the bed where we've got our dahlias. The dahlias are unfortunately way past their best. But even so, they're still quite a nice show. And Nadj is just doing a quick tour around the dahlia bed to show you how they look at the moment.
They're still looking good. Wow, beautiful. Look at that, look at the color. Amazing.
They have been absolutely gorgeous, but they are past their best now, and the wind has been blowing them about a bit, but even so they're worth looking at.
Yeah.
Some lovely autumn colour.
Like the wind. Oh, you will love the wind.
Just a very quick view here of our background bed. Most of the flowers there unfortunately have now finished, but there is still some autumn colour as well in the background bed. The gravel beds are still quite pleasant at the moment. The hebes are very beautiful. Campanulas and a few other things are doing quite well, providing some colour. We just move across now to the small orchard. Okay, the small orchard over here. This is the orchard in the small space. And we've been really pleased with this considering it's the first year. We got the strawberries around the outside. We'd got some soft fruit in pots there, like the black currants and everything. And then we'd got 6 trees planted. And as you can see, for the very first year, they have actually been quite productive. And, you know, we are quite pleased with them. Oh, Nadj has just picked one. She's going to be eating an apple in a few minutes' time. Wow. In front of us here we've got the rose bed. There's not very much sign of the roses, I'm afraid. But the companion planting, some of it at least, is still looking quite pleasant. The sedums at the back are really coming very good now. I love the sedums at the back. The roses, I'm afraid, can't see that much of them. We're now walking around the outside of the patio, having a look at the patio border at the back of the house. Again, a lot of the plants are past their best. Unfortunately, our gorgeous rudbeckias have started going over now, but there is still some colour there. The bedding begonias at the front are still quite pleasant as well. Then this side of the patio we have some really spectacular baskets. Really pleased with the begonias in these baskets here. They're still very pretty. And then going down underneath, we've got a line of the other sorts of plants that we've put into the pots at different times this year. See, that diplodenia is still absolutely gorgeous. But some of the other things are actually showing signs of possibly coming out again. Things like the camellia and rhododendrons as well. So we're really pleased with them. And then again here there's another one of the absolutely gorgeous baskets. So pretty. The herb garden that we planted in pots much earlier in the season is still quite productive. And as we stand here, the smell from the herbs is absolutely beautiful. It's been very useful having these outside the kitchen, and Nadja's been able to come outside to pick whenever she wants to have the crops for her cooking. So we're heading to the polytunnel now, and on the way we're looking at the carrots in the buckets, and Nadja's just going to pull out one of the little carrots from one of those buckets there. That's how we like to pull them, that sort of size there, and we cook them whole rather than slicing them up. Absolutely delicious. Now we're moving into the polytunnel. There's not a lot in the polytunnel at the moment. Obviously we've got peppers and chilies and some aubergines over on this side.
They're ripe now. We'll harvest them later on. And this one. Oh!
There's some big ones in them.
Oh yes, look at that. Chilies.
So down at this end of the polytunnel then, we've got some freshly sown salad crops that are coming up, ready to provide us with salad during the winter. And over here we have a huge selection of late tomatoes. There's some cherry tomatoes, there's some different types of tomatoes here. There's a huge quantity of different types to try to provide us with some tomatoes going into autumn. And again over here, more salad crops that have been sown, ready to keep us in salad during the winter. Nadja's ginger plant there, and up above some of our onions that we've been storing. We're at the front of the property now, in our front garden, and we're thinking about harvesting apples.
Wow.
These are our beautiful Braeburn apples. We're really very pleased with how they've done on this little tree. And we're just going to start harvesting a few of these apples to give the other ones a little bit more room. I'm just going to take one or two more off. Okay, we'll take those off for the moment to give the others more space. And now we've come to our Bramley tree, and we're harvesting some more Bramley apples for Nadj to be cooking. We're really pleased with how the Bramleys have done this year. We've had a lovely crop, really pleased, and we're going to be doing lots more things with these lovely Bramley apples. And now Nadge is going to show you one of the highlights of our garden still, the beautiful begonia beds. Although it's very late in the season, the begonias are still flowering tremendously. And we're just so pleased with the beautiful colour that these begonias are providing. They will keep flowering all the way up until the frosts eventually kill them. Excuse a noisy tractor that's just gone past. But these beds themselves are absolutely beautiful. The begonias don't need deadheading, these bedding begonias. And whatever the weather, whether it's raining, whether it's drought or whatever, they will still do very well. We're so pleased with them. I'm going to show you the border in front of our garden wall, even though the flowers are past their best. The Rudbeckias are still quite attractive in places, and we've got the begonias underneath. So they run all the way along the front of this garden wall. And then just panning around, we see the fountain bed and the planting around the fountain bed. The lobelia, the annual lobelia around the bottom, is quite spectacular still. And we're quite pleased with how that bed is still looking late in the season. The gravel area at the front of the house is still looking quite attractive. The top end, we've got Nadge's Christmas tree, and we've got a hanging basket with some begonias and petunias still looking quite attractive. Going down the side here, we have a variety of plants. The hostas are not looking their best at the moment. These geraniums are still quite nice. And then in the front row along here, we've got more geraniums and begonias and a selection of other plants as well. The pots at the front of the house, again, are past their best. I think they're still worth looking at. And a few things, like these roses, are really pleasing at the moment. These roses that we planted earlier in the season, we're really pleased with. We think we've had really good value from these roses. And even now they're flowering really spectacularly. Thank you so much for viewing our garden tour, our autumn garden tour, and we hope that you've enjoyed looking at our garden in the lovely autumn sunshine. Thank you so much, much appreciated. Thank you for your support.